The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to CInema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? And now, CInema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Everyone says follow your dreams, and you should, but you need to be aware that when you follow your dreams, those dreams have a price.
Sometimes, yeah. Alrighty, folks. Welcome to CInema IRL. This episode, we are talking about Marty Supreme. The film centers on Marty Mouser, a young man with a dream of becoming a table tennis champion. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. Flubber. The film centers on Marty Mouser, a young man with the dream of becoming a table tennis champion in the 1950s. His pursuit of greatness leads him through a series of high-stakes hustles, chaotic events, and international travel from New York to London to Tokyo.
He was all over the place.
This is a 2.5-hour movie, and it was moving and hustling the entire time. Didn't look at my watch once.
The only reason I looked at my watch was because I needed to know how much time was left because I had to use the bathroom. And I'm like, do I hold it? And then I realized it didn't matter. I was holding it. It had me.
So this film was just interesting on a couple of standpoints, not even counting the topic of the film. Number one, it was set in the early 50s, but a great majority of the music was from the 80s. And I know I've experienced that in at least one other film, but it's always kind of, it's an experience. I actually don't know what the right word is for it when you have a period piece with music that's outside of the period.
Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but during the credits, they actually segmented out the music into 80s, 50s, and other.
Yes, I did see that.
Which, yeah, I agree with you. It's weird, but like I mostly think it's fine for what they were doing when they were doing it.
Yeah, no, I didn't object to it, but it was just very noteworthy when you hear New Order or
Tears for Fears.
Yeah, in that period. The other noteworthy thing was the very eclectic cast. So you have Fran Drescher, which, I don't know about you, but I haven't really seen since the Nanny days. You have Sandra Bernhard, Penn Jillette,
yeah,
Gwyneth Paltrow, and then of course our star. And
I couldn't tell Penn Jillette unless I closed my eyes, and then I could tell immediately it was Penn Jillette.
Yeah. It was a very interesting cast.
Yeah, it was, but like, I mean, I generally think it worked. I didn't realize Kevin O'Leary was actually like a full-on trying to be actor, or maybe he does have a lot of money and, hey, I will help finance this film if.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, but it was definitely surprising to see Kevin O'Leary in the opening credits. And basically, he played Mr. Wonderful 1950s style.
I was about to say Mr. Wonderful was basically playing Mr. Wonderful with a slightly more edgy edge, only slightly more than his real personality.
I don't know about that. He's.
I don't know if he would have paddled anyone in real life.
I think Mr. Wonderful absolutely would paddle someone. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, Mr. Wonderful, obviously one of the sharks on Shark Tank, if you watch that show. And he also alluded to being a vampire who's been alive since the 1600s. So.
Yes, you have summoned me.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Hi, Von Murder.
Hi.
I
mean, I didn't realize I was going to be in this episode until I saw that I was going to be in this episode.
You're like Joe Henry. Just say his name and he appears.
It's true.
All right. So
that was a young vampire.
Yeah.
I'm more like a 13th century vampire. That dude, like 15th or 17th century, actually. Like, he's a baby.
And for those who have not had the pleasure of meeting our occasional special guest, Von
Hi.
Murder, say hi.
Hi.
He is generally someone who helps us out with vampire-themed films, but given the reference that 1950s Mr. Wonderful made, I guess we summoned you.
Yeah. That was kind of weird, though. He didn't look like any vampire I knew.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was kind of fun to see him act, but even more so to see him act in a role that felt very much like the character that we see in Shark Tank.
Okay. Well, I gotta go now.
Okay.
'Cause that's all we had.
Okay, all right. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye.
Bye, Von Murder. All right, Scott. So
Oh, yes. Goodness.
let's
You never know who's going to show up around here.
That's true. That's true. So the film basically follows Marty, who is trying to be this table tennis famous superstar athlete and is hustling and lying and finagling and pushing and weaseling in whatever way he can to be able to make his dream happen.
So I've generally always said that I'm a little, for lack of a better term, extra in this world. Like,
What do you mean?
I'm a lot. And,
Okay.
and I did not feel like a lot at all compared to Marty. Marty was a lot.
Yeah, he was.
He put the Supreme in Marty Supreme.
Yeah, he was just always on, always surrounded by a swirl of chaos, frequently of his own making. And
Yeah, the amount of drama that dude had to deal with constantly.
Yeah, knocked up a married woman, set a gas station on fire, took someone's dog and lost it, lifted money, turned around and won something he was supposed to lose. I mean, it was just go. And that's why a 2.5-hour movie just flew by, because you were always glued to the screen of like, oh my gosh, what's next? And you were just always on the edge of your seat.
But it's interesting because it actually kind of shines a little bit of a light on some things, is that obviously when you talk about like a pro athlete who plays like baseball or football or basketball, like you make good money. Like even the worst people are going to make some good money. But when you get down to some of these more niche sports, things like that, you have someone who's a world champion and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that they necessarily have money from it, because a lot of those things don't pay well at all.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I don't know if this is the case anymore, and I might be dating myself, but you look at athletes who then win the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And then afterwards you see them in ice capades. I know when I, was a little girl and we used to go see ice capades, there was always these former superstars, twirling around in a princess thing or in some sort of themed something for ice capades.
You find a way to try to make your talent make money, but it's difficult. Like, you have this amazing talent, but it's still to such a niche audience that it doesn't make enough money to pay you enough money.
Yeah, and we saw that in the film where Marty does pretty darn well at the international championships, doesn't win.
Yeah, the British Open, he ends up getting second.
Yeah, and going into that, he thought, I'm going to win, and he was presented with a proposal from a friend of like, hey, let's tour with the Harlem Globetrotters, and he was like, basically, nah, I'm too good for that. They're just circus monkeys, and I'm not gonna lower myself to that. I'm a real athlete. And he comes in second, and sure enough, he's touring with the Harlem Globetrotters and doing silly little bits during the break when the Harlem Globetrotters are taking a break.
But I think it's fine. Like, he made a good point. The Harlem Globetrotters, the people who were there, they're amazing athletes.
I mean, they were on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Yes. No, but they are truly amazing athletes who, a number of them either probably could go pro or at least very close to it. And they do this for entertainment because they love doing that. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having world-class talent and putting on world-class shows with it.
No, I mean, it's a great intersection of sports and entertainment. What is that, the banana baseball people you like?
Banana Ball?
Banana
the
Ball.
Savannah Bananas?
Yeah, tell folks about that who might not know about it.
Oh, yeah. If you're not familiar with Banana Ball, it's freaking incredible. It's basically baseball, but there's a few additional rules, many of which are very fan friendly. Like if a fan catches a foul ball, the batter is out. Yeah, and you'll see people do tricks. Like they actually accumulate a stat called trick shots, where like you'll see people catch a fly ball while doing a backflip, or
which requires athleticism.
yeah, or throwing a ball behind your back or between your legs, and like we're just to entertain. And then sometimes they actually have, like, for lack of a better term, like a musical skit. Like they'll do come out to some music and people will dance, and like the umpire himself is, you'd look at him, you're like, he's not a dancer until he starts dancing. And you're like, okay, yeah, that dude is round and short, but he gets down.
Yeah, you showed me a couple of videos of that. It looks like everyone in the stands has a great time.
Oh yeah, and they even get like amazing guests. Like they literally had Eli Manning, a 2-time Super Bowl quarterback, come in as a referee.
Oh, really?
For a game, and he did a little bit until he purposely had a bad call, and then they revealed it was Eli. John Cena was there once. A lot of retired major leaguers will make appearances, and just a bunch of other people, and it's all fun. Like it is a fans first experience, and that is literally what any interview you ever hear him do. He's like, I'm putting the fans first. Like, it's still athletic. It's still a competition. It's not like the Harlem Globetrotters. They actually are playing to win. But within the context of, we want to put on a show as well as a game. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I didn't have any problem with him taking the Harlem Globetrotters gig. I think that would have been fun. I mean, he got to see the world, and he got paid for it.
Yeah. So there was quite a few what would you do's in here, quite a few. The first one that's worth exploring is he seems to have a friend who's a girl that he's known since he was 8, and she's married, but they're having a little something on the side. And sure enough, he knocks her up, and we know this because of the illustration of the sperm swimming.
Yes. Yeah, there was that. The opening titles scene was rather scientific.
Yeah. Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Yeah, basically the title of Marty Supreme ended up on the egg that the sperm were going to impregnate Rachel, who was the girl. So his stance is pretty much, okay, again, nothing's getting in his way. He has a dream. But he's like, I pull out. Did your husband pull out? This isn't mine. Sorry, not mine.
The pull-out method. 20% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah. So this girl obviously likes him, even though she's married. But
her husband's kind of a piece of work.
He is, but then you also find out, too, that you think that her husband hit her, but she just put on some makeup to be able to hang with Marty and get some sympathy. So I don't know if he's as much of a piece of work as we thought earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's a little bit of a piece of work as well, but I mean, it's clearly she's in a marriage she doesn't want to be in. So
what would you do if you were Marty? You knock up some girl, and she's married, and you're friends, and you've been friends for, doing the math here, 15 years, because he's 23.
Yeah, it says they were 8.
So what would you do? You have a dream, and there's this...
I definitely wouldn't knock up my married friend. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, because you'd pull out. But suppose you did. You mean by not knock her up, you mean you wouldn't sleep with her to begin with?
Oh, yeah. Like, that's bad juju. So...
And in his nonstop hustle and chaos that we referenced earlier, when he finds himself just pressed and he needs someplace to go, and she's left her husband, and he thinks her husband hit her because she has a black eye, which we learn later is makeup, he winds up knocking on the door of a kind of sort of supporter partner of sorts and says, this is my sister. This is my sister. Like, he will just blurt out anything to be able to survive and come out ahead in whatever circumstance.
Yeah, she had like 3 or 4 different relationships to him over the course of the movie.
Yeah. So, okay. So what would you do? Is you wouldn't go there to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, but let's just say, because I will admit, thinking through my past, I believe I've had one time in my life where I have ever slept with someone who was married and still very much in their marriage. Not necessarily happy, obviously, but like they weren't planning on leaving or ending that marriage. And it was from when I was really young. It was one time. It was stupid. But, you know, like it's a risk you take. You know that if you're not using protection here with a married woman, that she could get pregnant and that child could be yours. And if you're going to do adult things, you have to make adult decisions afterwards.
No, I think the words "have to" are kind of in air quotes because lots of people don't do the right thing all the time. So another what would you do here is Marty ends up hustling some guys at a pool hall with his friend, who they kind of set up this whole thing, and his friend's in it with him who drives a taxi, and basically create this dynamic where Marty is the jerk and his friend is this guy who got, you know, taken earlier in the night from a fair, who didn't pay, and he's down on his luck and he lost all his money. So everyone in the pool hall comes to rally around him against Marty, not knowing that these two are in cahoots, and they wind up walking around with a big pile of money. But then all the guys figure out what happened, and they apparently pile in a big truck, and they find them at a gas station, and they're angry.
Yeah. I've generally found that people don't like being hustled.
That's true.
That has been my experience in this world.
It's best to get out of town if you're doing some hustling.
Yeah. You got to do better than that. I mean, good, in a way, kind of good on them for hustling. Like, I'm okay with it if you can get away with it. But
they were also hustling with some other guy's money that was appropriated for other purposes to take a dog to a vet, which they never did. So it was kind of bad sin on top of bad sin.
Well, I think they wanted to take the dog to the vet, but like there was a whole gas station exploding. The dog got out of the car, and they were
never going to take that dog to the vet. I mean, he was basically giving him alcohol to get him to shut up from barking, and then they went and did this hustle. That dog was never going to the vet.
I don't know. I actually feel like, because Marty at first was, when it happened, Marty kind of had this thing where it's like, we need to get the dog. Like, we need to get the dog. And the other guy was just basically not having any of it. And I think.
So what would you do, though, if that truck full of guys is coming after you who you just hustled? What do you do? The two of you are together. The jig is up. What do you do?
When the dog's out?
The jig is up.
What? Oh, you mean you get caught at the gas station?
Yeah, the truck full of guys sees the two of you together who were supposedly on opposing sides and realize you've been working together, and they find you. What do you do?
Get out by any means necessary. Like, that's it. Like, they're going to, like, there's like 6 of them and 2 of you. If they catch you, they're going to beat your ass. And here's the thing about getting your ass beat. Like, we see things with fights and stuff. In real world, if somebody's actually trying to come at me physically, like, I'm going to see it as a threat on my life. Because I don't know where their line is. I know they want to hurt me, but I don't know if their line is stopping before I'm dead. So, I'm doing whatever. If I have to spray gas everywhere and cause a huge explosion to get away from these guys, like, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to. When the dog got out, I do think I would have stopped. But you have to make that decision, like, almost immediately before there's any real distance between you and the dog, because then you can get the dog in and still get out of there. But once you've gone even like 5 seconds too far, it's like you definitely run the risk of those guys catching you. No, maybe, I don't know. Like, that truck was there. Like, their vehicle had to have been caught up in that explosion. So, I don't know.
Yeah, Marty sprayed everybody with gas to try and get away, and apparently an explosion was the next item on the menu. So another what would you do that I thought was worth exploring is Marty is trying to get to Japan for the next tournament and desperately trying to get the money to get a plane ticket to Japan, but then he also finds out he has a $1,500 fine associated with the hotel that he stayed at, and he has to pay that before he's eligible to even be in the tournament. So he's trying to find this money to pay the fine and to get to Japan and be able to play in the tournament. And again, he's willing to do whatever it takes.
See, here's the weird thing. I'm fairly certain when the other guy read what's the other, I keep calling him the other guy. What was his name?
I feel like it was Sam, but that may or may not be right. Yeah, it was
Wally.
It was Wally.
Wally.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a bill from the hotel.
Well, I think what happened was that he basically went to the hotel and said, "I'm with the people who are supposed to be paid for."
Yeah.
And
He left a big bill.
yeah, he left a big thing, and the letter seemed to say, "Here's your fine, and you're not playing." But he was going under the "or," and so maybe I misheard that. But it seemed confirmed when he got there, and he was like, the other guy was like, "No, you're not playing. You're not playing." And this actually kind of gets into what I thought he was doing there at the end, because he wanted to have a real match against the guy who smoked him in the British Open. And I truly believed, and I actually think this would have been maybe a better way to go, it would have made the movie longer, that he goes out and he beats that guy, then essentially turns to the head guy on the microphone in front of the crowd and is like, "You're holding this tournament to crown the world champion. You want the best in the world here. I just beat the guy who won the British Open. You can't have the best in the world here unless I'm in that field."
Yeah, I did expect Marty to leverage that situation.
Because that was kind of who he was.
Yeah, and what Scott's referring to is to get to Japan, Marty makes basically a deal with the devil. Mr. Wonderful, who is playing a character named Milton Rockwell.
Mr. Vampire.
And says, "I will fly you to Japan on my private jet. I need you to play the guy that you lost to at the British Open. And I need you to lose. And when you lose, Marty learns that he needs to kiss a pig." Well, first of all, what a gift is that? I would love to kiss a pig. But aside from that, he does this, he loses, and then he realizes he finds the guy who's actually in charge of the tournament, realizes he's not even going to be allowed to get in at all, and then says, "Okay, fine, let's play something for real."
Yeah, he didn't care about anything other than playing competitive table tennis. He wasn't in it for the money. He wasn't in it for anything else other than to do that. And when he found that one thing he had, he wasn't going to get anymore, he figured, screw it, I'm at least going to get my one game in against this guy. And again, if it's me, I'm leveraging it into trying to get into the tournament. But apparently that was good enough for him.
Yeah, so where I was going with that, what would you do, is before he gets to Japan, before he plays the guy, before he loses and then wins, he had to make a deal with Milton and said, "Hey," oh, and also keep in mind, he is occasionally sleeping with Milton's wife on the side.
Yeah.
But he now realizes he has tried time after time after time to get the money, to pay the fine, to get the ticket, to go to Japan. So many things, and hustle, and they all keep falling apart. And finally, he has to go to Milton and says, "I will do whatever it takes for you to take me back, put me in this promotion, let me lose to the guy. I'm sorry I had ego. I'm sorry I was a smart aleck. I'm sorry I was a jerk. I will do whatever." And go ahead and tell our audience what the whatever was.
Yeah. So basically, at that point, he previously was going to get paid to do this, and he rejected that. So now he's not getting paid, and if he wants to be a part of this, he has to drop trow and get spanked with a ping pong paddle.
Yeah, fully bending over, and Milton is smacking his bare butt with a ping pong paddle. And
The first one doesn't hurt that bad. It is the second and subsequent ones. They hurt.
well, at least it didn't have holes in it, because I went to parochial school, and my first year at parochial school, which was second grade, we had nuns, and their paddles had holes.
Good for them for knowing physics.
Yeah, so less resistance there and more impact.
Yeah. No,
That's not a thing anymore, is it? We don't allow people to be
definitely not
paddled
in blue
schools?
states. I can't necessarily speak for red states. I don't think it's used much, but I
bet it is still
I would
in some
not.
places.
I would not be shocked if it was still used. I mean, it's actually a pretty effective punishment. Like, I did not want to get paddled.
Yeah, I remember it didn't happen. I don't remember if I got. I had to have once, but I remember whoever did, you had to stand at the front of the classroom and you had to touch your toes, and you got paddled in front of the entire class.
Okay,
I don't remember anything past second grade. I think they retired the paddle after that.
Okay, that is super embarrassing. So I did get paddled twice, both times in fifth grade, and generally it's either 2 or 3 swats is what you would get depending on the severity. The first time was literally for just like basically being ADHD in class and doodling, and it wasn't a huge offense, so she only gave me 1, but it wasn't in front of the class. Like, they pull you into like a back kind of area, and you get it done there, and then
The whooping corner.
yeah. The second time was because I kicked the guy's teeth down his throat because he on a moving bus, because he was screwing with my brother. And
Well, sounds like you deserve to get paddled for that.
when we what?
Sounds like you deserve to get paddled for that.
Well, it was actually interesting because when I got to the principal's office, he was like, "You know I have to punish you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, I can't say that I would have necessarily done anything different than you, but like, you can't not get punished. So he actually only gave me 1 swat for that.
Knocking out a kid's teeth?
Yeah, I literally sent him to the dentist.
That's terrible.
But you know what? The dude was being an asshole.
Well, that doesn't mean you rob someone of their teeth.
Well, I wasn't trying to kick his teeth down his throat. What actually happened was my little taekwondo thing. I was, ooh, look at me. I can kick. So I went and did a kick on him while the bus was braking. So again, physics, the force of my foot hit his face considerably harder than it would have been had it not been a braking bus, thus knocking his teeth down his throat.
Okay. So Marty gets his swats and then boards the plane, but not before Rachel goes into labor, or at least is rushed to the hospital because she is somehow grazed in a gunfight, because the guy that they took the money from and the dog that they used to hustle the guys at the pool player and the dog who got separated during the explosion, they find the dog. So in one of Marty's hustles, they're like, we need to find this dog to be able to call the guy, have Rachel call the guy and be like, oh, I found your dog. Is there a reward? So then he can use that money to get Japan. Again, hustle after hustle after hustle. 2.5 hours of hustle.
You know, I might have, on that one, she was asking for $2,000.
In 1952, I think it was. $2,000 in 1952.
Yeah, that's a lot. But when he's like, kind of like on the fence, or listen, how about this? I'm willing to do $1,500. And I don't know, maybe the guy is more keen on that idea. I don't know.
Well, I think they did 2,000 because he needed 1,500 to pay the fine and the rest of it to actually get to Japan.
Yeah.
But anyway, that doesn't work, and so Rachel gets caught up in some gunfire, I think gets grazed a little bit, and Marty rushes her to the hospital, but then is on the plane the very next morning off to Japan after getting his paddles.
Yeah, I mean,
paddling.
They blew out I believe the back window with the shotgun, and it was the glass that flew into her that got her.
The glass did. Okay. Yeah, because they ultimately find the dog. It belongs to a crazy mofo with a shotgun.
That dude was clearly some form of mobster and clearly not someone that you would screw with.
Yeah. So he's, for whatever reason, does not want anyone around, and gunfire erupts. So there was so much that happened in this film. Go, 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 go. Crisis, crisis, chaos, chaos. I don't know, short of just bringing in a note taker with us and writing down all the what would you do's, could we possibly get through them? Were there any other ones that stuck out to you?
Yeah. I mean, the dude was...
Which dude?
Marty.
Okay.
Was screwing Mr. Wonderful's wife in the shower, and he knocks her necklace off intentionally down the drain so that he could retrieve it later and try to sell it.
Yeah. Always freaking hustling.
Yeah, I oh man, you don't do that. Come to her if you need something, but don't.
She is a means to an end. She is like, and the whole reason he even connected with her is he was being interviewed during the British Open, and the interviewers who were talking to him all of a sudden stop and say, "Oh, look who's there," and he loses their attention. So he, in his desire to be famous and admired and all of that stuff, he was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to make friends with this actress whose name was Kay," and then that kind of turns into, occasional nooners. But her husband is actually really influential as well. So they are resources to him because he is always in need of something.
That's true. I mean, the guy was resourceful and showed early on he was willing to do what it took when he basically robbed his uncle. I mean, not really. It was money his uncle owed him, but his uncle skipped town.
He didn't skip town. He just wasn't there.
Well, they went on a trip for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, skip town implies that you're trying to get out of town because you're on the run or something.
Well, either way,
he left town.
He was intentionally making himself not available of some form without having paid Marty, which was kind of crappy to do. So I can't even say that the faux robbery, like, he wasn't going to shoot him.
Yeah, I mean, Marty needs the money to be able to pay for the plane ticket because he's supposed to go to the British Open the next day, and his uncle is not around to give him the money that he owes him, I guess maybe for working at the shoe shop. And Marty grabs a gun and points it at the other guy who works at the shoe store with him and says, "Assume I'm going to kill and shoot you and give me the money."
Yeah, I don't know if I would have quite gone to the grab a gun level, but I would have been laying a huge freaking trip on the guy. Like, I would have been using the ammo of, "Oh, look, he made me a manager, and now I can be your boss and I could fire you." Like, doesn't that make you mad at him? And like, he was the ultimate manipulator, but in that situation, no problem with it whatsoever. He needed the money. His uncle knew he needed the money.
No problem whatsoever holding a gun at your coworker?
No, I said short of the gun.
Okay.
Like, whatever tactics you need to use at that point, like, yeah, this is one of those situations. They're few and far in between where two wrongs actually do make a right.
I don't know about that. Anyway, no shortage of absolute just mayhem and chaos and conning.
Yeah, we can't even
go.
Can't even possibly cover it all.
2.5 hours of just nonstop action.
But you know what?
In a movie that wasn't an action film.
But you know what? It's going to be at the Oscars for sure. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a winner. It was good. It'll get nominated, or definitely get nominated for Best Picture. I don't know if it was good enough to win Best Picture.
Well, it was, and I know he says his name differently. Is it Timothée Chalamet? Timothy. It's not Timothy Chalamet. It's like Timothy or something. Timothée.
I don't know.
Anyway, he did an amazing job of being incredibly likable despite all of the chaos he created.
It's possible he could get, I mean, again, he will be nominated for Best Actor. Like, there's no question in my mind that he'll be nominated for it. He may actually be one of the favorites to get it. It was a very strong performance. I mean, we're not a movie review show. I don't really think about who do I think is going to get Oscar nominated or anything like that. But, I mean, he's definitely one of those people. He's got a chance. He might be up against Leo. Actually, I think he'd lose to Leo. In what's the?
I think it was One Thing After Another.
Yeah, One Thing After Another.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts.
Follow your dreams, but make sure you have your credit card with you to make them happen.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.